Okay, so we are on this NASA website where we want to download half-hourly data, rainfall data. So on this website, they give you options, basic description of what this data is all about. It says spatial coverage is almost the entire Earth, and file size is 2.8 megs per file. So these files will contain a number of sensors. So these sensors are actually displayed on this website from Earth Engine by Google. They say that they have around 6 to 7 sensors, and also display the units it is displayed in. So for our purposes we'll use precipitation cal. So this I found out to be that they recommend it for general use. So this is precipitation estimate with kth calibration. So this is what we're going to use, and this is what an example is given in the Earth Engine catalog. So we go ahead and download this. To download, there is an option called subset get data. So before this, there needs to be an account, Earth data account. Then you need to log in, and you need to wait for 24 hours for it to get activated. So once that is done, we can actually click on subset get data and click on download method and click on OpenND I found this to be useful because it provides ASCII format, which is easy to convert and easy to data format. So we'll use this, and we need to define a date range for this. Okay, so this data is from 2000 to the present date, so till yesterday. So whatever date currently it is, we can actually go to that date. Maybe if I can change it to 2021. Okay, so it is still 2020 itself. So we select one date. Maybe we can change to 2020 December, and maybe select for 1 month. Alright, so we have 1 month data, and then we need to define the range. So which data do you want to select? Maybe we can choose Bangalore. So to choose Bangalore, we need to define coordinates, the bounding box. So I found a really good website which can help us define the bounding box. So this is bboxfinder.com, and this will help us find the bounding box. It needs to be approximate because this data is 11 kilometer square spatial resolution. So we can actually approximate bounding box. So we draw, and start clicking and make a bounding box out of it. So okay, so once this is done, so these coordinates are actually displayed here. You can go ahead and copy this and then paste it in this location. Not get copied. Actually copy like this. So it says maximum degree of precision is 3, so we can actually scrape out all these. Doesn't have to be exact. So once that is done, the map green bounding box gets displayed on this. So once that is done, now we need to select the variables that we need to download. So these are the sensors, and for our purposes we are using precipitation cal. We click on that. There are other options as well that also can be downloaded if the need be. So for this example, we are going to use precipitation cal. Dimensions, no need to check, we need all dimensions. File format, this is important that we need to select ASCII. If you are a MATLAB user, maybe you prefer NetCDF because it has easy to format options in NetCDF, but I prefer ASCII because it is similar to CSV files. So once this is done, we can click on get data. So what it does here is it searches for all the links to download. So each link is a day's data. not a day's data, actually 30 minutes data. So you would have 30 into 24 hours into 60 minutes into, I think, by 2 or something, those many links. So it found 1490 links, and these are the links. What we need to do is we have to download the link list first. This is the first thing we have to do. So this gets downloaded, and there are instructions for download. So it says create a not data account, link your account with GES disk. So this two steps are important. If you click on these links, it will direct you to how to proceed with this, but what we do is we have already downloaded the link list, and we need to follow the instruction on wget. So I click on that. Till then we can actually go ahead and format our downloaded file and rename to something shorter, say subset. So once this is done, come back to the page. So it says wget for Windows. So wget is a command line tool which helps download huge files. You can use this, but I prefer programmatic way. So we'll go down. So there are a few options using Python. So I prefer Python, so I have made a script using Python. So they already give you a small script to work with, and tell to follow these guidelines. So I'll run you through these guidelines, what needs to be done before the script can be run. So they say that you need to create .netrc file. So we'll go ahead and do that. So you can actually open Notepad, and inside Notepad you need to write this, and instead of UID, it needs to be your username, and instead of password, it's going to be your password. So once this is done, we can actually, I have already created this, but what you need to do is type in your username and password, and then click on save as, and not a text document but all files, and on .netrc file. So this is the file name that needs to be provided, and then you can click on save. So once this is done, we can now use this Python script. So I've already made this. So I'm using an online cloud computing tool by Google. It's called Collaboratory actually. So what it does is it's run Python scripts online and provides GPUs for fast processing. So what we do is, it is similar to any other programming language. So we import all the necessary libraries needed. So here we import pandas for data processing, for data frames, NumPy for processing, datetime for converting dates, and RE for regex commands. And here this line tells you to actually open the CSV file. Read CSV is a command in pandas. So PD is an alias for pandas, and here we need to actually replace this with the actual file. So we'll go ahead and upload the subset file. So the subset file is the file which has all the links. So you can see the subset.txt. So before we do that, if you open the subset.txt, what it has is, it has all the layers, all the links to download. These first two links we don't need to download, we can actually remove them. It's not necessary, but we can download. Those just contain the metadata which I already know, and I can edit that and click save. Now I'll go ahead and upload it. So it says uploaded files will get deleted when runtime is recycled. So what it tells is, once you reload the page, this file gets deleted. So it has to be in one go. like one go you have to complete the entire process. So once this is done, we can copy the path. You can see that subset.txt file is uploaded here. Copy the path and paste it here. We have done that. Now we can go ahead and run this first cell. So no errors, good. And we can actually check the length. len.df will provide you how many entries are there. So it says 1488 entries. So those are the number of, this is for 1 month. These are the few functions we defined. We'll go through them later, but for now we have to do another thing, which is go to this folders icon on the top, go to root, click on the 3 dots and upload under the roots folder. You need to upload .ntrc file. So this file contains all the credentials that we provide, because it is a request. This is an API call, and anyone can abuse it. So NASA has provided with the credentials that you need to pass credentials on each request. So that is the use of that. And so now we'll come to this script. So I've modified the script a little bit from what NASA provides. If we go back to the data access, if you see here, I've added few more lines. This is, so what this does is actually downloads all the files. So from the each URL, what we have to do is not just download but read the contents of the file as well. So this the script, what it does is, okay, I'll go through one by one. Request module is useful for fetching data from the URL. Data frame is for creating data frame, is like an Excel sheets kind of thing. And range dot length is will loop through all the URLs that is present in the subset.txt file. So we'll loop through 1488 times. Now we are setting the URL to the index of this data frame. Sorry, this data frame. So this data frame will contain the URL. The URL will be associated with the first line. Now what we do here is, this is not necessary. So request.get URL will fetch the result. So what it does is, it logins to the browser with the URL, fetches the data and results, gives it back. And raise for status is if the result was successful. So maybe if the result get request was successful, it returns 200. If it was a bad request, so say you do not provide any credentials, it returns 401. You can look for those status code at http status code, and it will tell you all the response code, so that if there is an any error, you can actually get an idea. So this website is quite helpful. Then what it does is, so it results.content or decode UTF-8, because we are reading from an external source. The return content, the result file, is in binary format, bytes format, so we need to convert to UTF-8 so that it is human readable, and then we split lines. Then what we do is, so this is specifically for this data. Up to this point it was for any data that you download. For here, because we are downloading 3mug, and if you look at the format, if I can show you one format, if you open any of the link, so this link puts a get request, and okay, it is asking for authorization. I'll provide my credentials. Okay, so this data contains, this data set is first line. So what these value represent is given in the metadata. if you look in the metadata file, I think it is in I don't have the file, but yeah. Okay, if you look in the readme document, and go to, sorry, not the readme, yeah, okay. So data content, data organization is where you have to go. This is not useful. I think data organization, right? Yeah. So you see, they've given an example as to what the format means. They tell you that start date and end date, start date and start time is given in this from here, and this is the end time. So this is what is essential for our processing. So we go back, so we find that start, we find the date first, we find the time next. It is just creating a datetime object so that it can be read. So this is in string and this is in the datetime object so that Python can read it. This is in time format. Then we process it. We can discuss later as to what this means. And so what it does is it's, so this L1 and L2 actually formats it in a way where all the values, so we are actually reading all these values and averaging it. So these values actually represent the of rainfall in hour. So we do that, and this is the average of all those values, and we store in the data frame. This data frame is like in an Excel sheet. Once all this is done, we save it to a CSV, we name it anything, and then download it. So once we download, you get the file in this format. Let's see if I have it. Okay, I have it. So when you run this code, you see contents of URL returned to this. So it says that it is successful. This means that this is successful. This is the file name that we assigned. You can name it anything. So I ran it with 5000 files and it gave no result, no errors. This was the output, and this is the data that we are reading. F is what we are reading it. So once we open the Excel sheet, alright, so this is the output format with reget. So in the first column is all the dates. So one, this is that I had done previously for month 8, from 1 to maybe December 31st, yeah. And all these columns are half hourly spaced, and it goes to 0 to 2330. So these values are in per hour, and then we can further process it. So this format we got from the Python scripting because we did this. Alright, so what this does is find all. This is regex expression. It says that first fetch this string and then fetch me a dot. This is full stop, and then this curly braces tells that I need to get back this value, whatever you find inside this. Don't look for this, but look for whatever is inside these brackets. So what it looks for brackets is this dot star. This dot is any element. This dot represents a full stop, but this represents, it can be anything inside this until you find a dash. So it returns, so it first finds this a dot, then it finds up to this point because it found a dash, so it actually returns the date. So similarly, we make a regex expression for time, then convert into year, month and date, and hour, minutes and second, and process it. So this is how we download. Important steps were that you actually need to upload the dot net rc file into the root folder. I prefer using Colab because it is much faster and reproducible. Yeah.